Welcome to the Balanced Living Podcast. And tonight I have a special guest because in this month of May, we're bringing awareness to mental health issues. And tonight we're chatting with a self-care expert, Dr. Alisha Reed. Welcome, Doctor.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me and bringing me on to discuss such an important topic. Not just in the month of May, but year round, every day.
Yes, we glad to have you on the show. How your day going?
It's pretty good. It's winding down. We made it halfway through, ready for the weekend.
Gotcha.
Once you hit that Wednesday,
yeah, that hump day.
Yeah, that's it. It's this.
That's what they call it. That hump day.
That's right.
If you're from the South, you probably eat lasagna, spaghetti, and meat sauce on.
Oh yeah. You're done with the red beans.
Yeah, we done. And if you're eating healthy, you're doing the veggie lasagna.
That's right. The spaghetti squash.
Yeah, there you go. Help us out, because I know you're on that healthy tip. Help us out.
I'm trying to be there. It's all about, just like the name of the podcast is balanced living. Just making sure that you just make some changes, some healthier choices and changes. So
gotcha. I like that. So let's talk about it. What is help? What is self-care?
So self-care, first and foremost, it's been trending. It's been a buzzword for some time now. If you follow social media, everybody want to use the hashtag self-care. And for so many, it's believed to be, going to the spa, taking these lavish vacations, doing all these things that you have to post about, right? But that can be a form of self-care. Don't get me wrong. But I like to define self-care as really doing whatever you need to do to make yourself feel like you again. And that can be anything that really makes you feel good and gets you back into that place where you feel centered.
What made you even start this? Like, what place you was at when you started this self-care movement?
So I've been a pharmacist for 21 years. So that profession alone allowed me to see a lot, especially working in the Black community, right? Where you see people who are picking up prescriptions for diabetes and high blood pressure and heart disease, and not just that, depression and anxiety. So really realizing that, as a community, we have a lot of these health conditions, these chronic health conditions. And, as a pharmacist, that's my job. I mean, I get paid to dispense prescriptions. The more prescriptions we fill, that's the more money the companies make. But it just came a turning point for me. Well, I mean, I love the profession. I gotta work. I gotta pay the bills.
Gotta pay bills.
But I wanted to be able to have conversations with people about, you could take this medicine, but there's other things that you can do. And that's where self-care came in for me. Like being able to educate patients to say, you're on this diabetes medication, but guess what? If you eat right, exercise, you can possibly come off this medication. And a lot of people didn't know that, and they weren't getting that information. They just thought they just had to take the medicine, right? So that's where my love for self-care really came in. But the real of where self-care came in for me is, just life-changing events. Going through having a baby, that's a big life change, getting married and just going through different phases in your life. So it's like, for me, self-care was always constant. It's like whenever something went, now I don't want to say wrong, but whenever there was some big major change in my life, you always have to recenter yourself. And self-care was that for me.
I like that. You not looking at it as pain, but looking at it, all right, I need to make some adjustments to make myself get better.
It's growth. Nothing is, you become uncomfortable when it's time for you to grow, right? So
change is better. They say you're standing still if you're not growing.
Right.
Every day,
like growing. Who wants to remain the same?
Yeah. The boring people.
Well, I mean, most people say that's the way to play it safe, though. You don't take any risks. You don't, don't change, don't deviate from your routine. That's the safe way, but
Man,
hey,
I don't want to play it safe. I
no.
don't want to play it safe. I'm gonna lose me in the process.
Right.
So, do you believe in taking pain that'll push you to start a purpose?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we all know that there is purpose that comes out of pain. If we weren't pushed, everybody can identify that one event or that one moment in their life that changed them forever.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that, you will. You
Mm-hmm.
will at some point. And I think that the way life is meant to be is you have these situations that change you and that really allow you to grow into the person you're supposed to be. So I feel like for me, and just a little bit of my story, losing my husband 4 years ago, at 40, I became a widow with a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that I've talked to over the years don't understand or don't realize, like, how I was able to keep going. And it's just that your faith, and then also knowing that, like, that's how you evolve. And
Right.
we all come into who we're supposed to be by going through difficult situations. And I felt like that was like all in preparation for me to get to where I need to be, if that makes
Gotcha.
sense. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you brought up your husband because I know Mo.
Mhm.
I know Mo
Mhm.
from the City of Love at church.
Yeah.
Like, how was that state? Like, did you think it was over for you at that moment when he passed away? Like, what I'm gonna do next?
I did. I did. I know, like, it was a huge shock. It was something that I didn't expect. So it was just being in that moment and that time. Like I explained to a lot of people, it's like a numbing. Like, you numb for a little bit because it's like you don't believe it happened, and you're trying to get through the trauma. And for life to just change in an instant, it's hard to really grasp, and it's hard to, accept and figure out like how life is going to be afterwards. So obviously, naturally, you're still thinking like, okay, what's going to happen. But I do tell, I do say, and I remember, City of Love, Bishop Love, like we all, he was there. We talked. My family have a great support system, and it was just like I just wanted peace. Like I remember just like praying for peace and peace, and it was like I never. I mean, I grieved. I mean, I'm still grieving. It's not, it doesn't have a timetable, but I never felt like I know immediately after I felt like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But there was something like in my spirit that said I was gonna be okay. And
Right.
I've ever since I've been, I mean, it's a journey, but like I just kept going and just
Gotcha.
share my story and, talk to so many women and, about being a widow and living through loss.
Because a lot of people, when they go through losses, and I applaud you for staying strong and helping a lot of people out later down in the years, they probably grow some anxiety sometimes, right? So,
Yeah.
what would be some steps that you would suggest to them to take when they dealing with some anxiety?
Well, I think when it comes to grief, we have to realize that as a culture, we were not raised to really talk about it and like
Mm-hmm.
share it. So I found that a lot of people aren't vocal, and they tend to want to suffer and grieve in silence, like stay inside and not talk to people about it. So I would first say the anxiety comes from having to hold all of that in.
Right,
You think about it. It's like it's all that pressure, all that, it's going to explode, right?
right, right.
So, being able to have a support system. And I think about it. My husband passed in 2019. We went straight into COVID in
That right
2020,
at home.
that March. So it was like, I'm isolated, but I mean, I
Yeah.
have family, and it's like still trying to find ways to communicate. So the support system, and then just being open and also acknowledging that you're not okay. I think that's another huge barrier that we have as a community, is not being able to say I'm not good. Like I'm not okay.
And I think in our community that we live in, it's hard for us to say that. I don't know
Yeah.
why. We rather suffer in silence and hold
Yeah.
that in and be eating our bodies up with stress and
Yeah,
depression and
yeah,
the anxiety. Like we living in New Orleans, like we tend to go to the bars every night and drink our
yeah,
problems
yeah,
away.
yeah.
So, because I saw your page by you living in New Orleans, what would be some wellness steps that you would suggest to us when we're going through some times
Yeah.
like that?
I think being active, getting outside, it's hot now, but just being there,
It
you
ain't hot
gotta
yet.
do it. Yeah, it was 90 or something today. But finding those spaces, maybe getting up early, or later in the evening. Perfect example. There's a run group that started, like a run walk group, because I'm not running, but just walking. And it was just a group of people just getting together where they can walk and exercise. So really, building that type of community where you can get outside
Right.
and not stay inside, because that's what happens. A lot of times we self-isolate. So I would say, going outside, walking, we have museums, we have so many things besides bars. And I mean, and I'm not saying I don't drink, because I'm not about
Right.
to get on here and be like, I don't
Oh,
drink, I don't
I
drink. Yeah,
drank
yeah,
too, but I'm saying,
right, right.
some people go every night.
Right. Because they look at that as a band-aid. That's like something that they're just putting over the problem, and using
Yeah.
alcohol to self-soothe, right? But just going out, just taking advantage of all the things that our city has to offer besides bars. Like if you go to like the museums, there's Broadway shows, there's even restaurants like where you can try different types of food, festivals. Now there's alcohol-free options. So I mean, there's ways to enjoy yourself without having to immerse yourself in alcohol, right?
Gotcha. Right. So you have this quote, and I want you to explain what you mean by this. I am who I needed this whole time. What does that mean? Share to the people what does that
So
mean?
so when I say that I'm who I needed this whole time, I realized that we often look outside of ourselves for things like reassurance, or the motivation. And I feel like my younger self, like I mean, I'll be 45. So I look
Look
back
good for
at
your age. Look good
thank
for
you.
your age.
So I think back at, college life and being in my 20s and even like early 30s. I always felt like I was having to look outside, or trying to chase after or achieve certain goals, right? To
Right.
validate, to validate who I was
Right.
as a woman, or as a person, right? So when I say that, I feel like I'm who I needed this whole time. Like I didn't need, yeah, I have a degree. Yeah, I mean, I needed to work, obviously, but I didn't
You
need
need it
that
to
to
work.
make me important, right? I
Right.
didn't need that needed to make me feel significant. I didn't need it to validate me. So it's like me, I had everything already and within me
Right.
that whole time.
Right. I like that.
Yeah,
Because a lot of women and men, we
yeah,
tend to deal with low self-esteem. We be looking for love in the wrong places. We tend to do crazy things that just make us not
yeah,
go right, continue on going left, or continue on going backwards and not forward. And so I like when I saw that post, it was relatable,
yeah,
because the whole time all we need to do is just dig down deep inside of us, and we'll find out who we really are. And the whole time it's us that we need,
yeah.
because everybody not gonna love you like you're gonna love yourself.
Right, right.
You
And then it
agree with that?
also takes, yeah, and then it also takes sometimes it takes those life experiences to where you might lose everything.
Uh-huh.
Or obviously with Katrina, I've lost everything there, but in the sense of
Everything.
losing a spouse and a friend, like a real a close best friend and a
Best
spouse,
friend.
is you know is where it's like you really have to rely on you, just it's just you just sitting with yourself and
Right.
really realizing that who you are as a person, because it's really having to rebuild yourself.
Definitely.
And
Definitely the
just
rebuild.
through this whole process, it was just like I just knew that the person that I am now is not who I was like 4 years ago.
So when you've been in self-care and digging deep into that,
Mm.
do I need to be selfish with that?
I think so. People's definition, everybody says that, it's some people say self-care self, it just means like you don't care about anybody else. But I look at it as to whereas you are really prioritizing yourself in a sense where you want to make sure that you're okay, because you really can't help anybody. Like, what good are you to anybody else if you really don't take care of yourself? Like they tell you on
Right.
the airplane, you on there with children, they want you to put your mask on first before you help somebody. So I'm
Right.
like thinking, like, we gasping for air, and I'm gonna put mine on first before I help my child. So
Right.
that
Right.
really makes sense. So it's like you really do have to prioritize yourself and your well-being to make sure that you are able to help others.
Uh-huh.
Because if you are not well, then your business is going to suffer. Your, family is going to suffer.
Right.
Everything else around you is going to suffer. So
Right.
I don't think I think people say it's selfish, but it's really, I think what's
Come on,
selfish
doctor.
is
Help us out, doctor.
what I really think is selfish is for someone to not take care of themselves and end up leaving this earth prematurely,
Uh-huh.
or being really sick, or something happened to them because they weren't taking care of themselves. I feel like that's selfish, right? Because
Yeah,
you
that
are
is. That is.
depriving your family of time with you.
Yep. I agree. I
So
agree that is because I want to leave this earth. Oh, I just had an uncle that passed away. And I say it was selfish of him because years ago we were telling him to go to the doctor to get checked. And when it got so bad, he waited to the last minute to where
yeah,
the doctors can do nothing. And that was the first thought that came to my mind, that he was selfish because he suffered for so long and didn't want to listen to his
right,
family to get the
right,
proper help that they need. And a lot of us do that in the black community, especially, to where we stubborn. We men, we don't want to go to the doctors.
right,
Like
right.
this last year was my first time going to the doctor when I saw it going through my uncle, because I don't want to live like
Yeah,
that. Especially me get into a family. I want to live longer for my
yeah.
family so they don't have to deal with that. We can have good times and enjoy every moment that we live by. Like, and leading up to, do you believe that self-care is a reward or is something that we deserve?
It's something that we deserve. I don't believe that it's a reward. And I really don't like when people use it as a reward. Like, oh, I did all of this, I'm gonna treat myself to a spa day. It's like, no, it's like,
We need that.
it's like, that's yours. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to earn that. Like, you deserve it. And but it also, it's so much, like I always talk about, like, generational trauma, and it's so much to do with, thinking back, we go, well, obviously slavery, right? It's
Right.
like you got the reward system. So it's
Right.
like, that's how you thinking. You thinking that you have to do all these things to get to be go to the, to a spa, or have a vacation, or take a nap, or take a rest. So for me, I don't consider it a reward. Like, it's deserved. Like, it's just like your birthright. Like, there's a book, it's called Rest is Resistance, right? Like, really saying, by us resting, we're really resisting. But
Right.
it's just like, we deserve rest. Like, rest is not earned. Like,
Right on.
it's we deserve it.
Gotcha. And what you've been saying with the spa, because we touched on the mental, now we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about the physical. Because I see you into a lot of products when they're dealing with
Mhm.
your face, getting cleansings. Is that safe to do?
It is. I mean, it's also, it's all related to health. A lot of people don't realize that things like keeping your doctor's appointments, doing your skincare, making sure you apply sunscreen. I mean, that's skin cancer right there. So if you don't put on sunscreen, you're increasing your risk of skin cancer. So all of those things really allow you to take better care of yourself and also maintain your health. And it's really getting you in the mindset, because if you are eating healthy, you are taking care of your body, you are, really focusing on inward, right? So all that goes together. So the self-care is like a ripple effect, because if you know that you want to be healthy and you want to live as long as you can, you're going to do all of those things to create a better quality of life for yourself.
Yeah, because I just started getting a facial. It took me a long time
Yeah.
to start getting a facial. I thought that was corny. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought that
Yeah.
was corny. Getting my hands done. I ain't letting them get the feet done yet. I'm working on it. Lord, working on me with that. But it's important because my skin and I feel better.
Yeah.
I feel all right. my face clean. I ain't got to worry about those marks in my face because a lot of men
Right.
tend to don't know about that because we're not knowledgeable because we look at other stuff as that's corny, that's lame. Men
Right.
don't do that. We've been raised in a manly household. Like you got to do this. Like no, it's okay to get maintenance on yourself, sir.
Yeah.
It's
And yes,
okay.
and
Health is
it's
wealth.
it's maintenance. Yes. And
Yeah,
it's, it's grooming. So it's
yeah,
like that's normal.
yeah. It's
Like
definitely
you should be. And I'm not saying you got to go spend hundreds of dollars cuz there's a lot of things you could do at home, right?
right.
But the actual act of doing these things, it should be a daily practice.
Gotcha. It should be a daily practice. So, what are some tips like a man could do that you suggest we could do, like for our body, like exercising, like
Yeah, I
eating
mean,
healthy? What would be
exercise.
some
I mean,
tips?
I look at it as it's pretty much it's very it mirrors what women do. Like it's still exercise and making sure proper nutrition, making sure you're drinking your water, mental health. Like a lot of men, don't talk about mental health or seek
We're afraid to
therapists.
sit on that sofa.
Right,
We're
but
afraid to sit on that sofa.
right.
We too
But you
manly. They're gonna think we soft.
you need that. You need that,
But
and
that's what leads to suicide
yeah,
thoughts and killing themselves because you hiding the pain in the inside. You're
yeah,
not expressing
yeah,
it to somebody, even if it's your partner. Because your partner, if you have the right connection, the right partner with you, they're gonna suggest that you go see a
yeah,
therapist because
right.
you're affecting them
Yeah, because
because they
your
have to live
friend
with it.
your friend is not your therapist. Like I tell
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
your friend
yeah,
is not your therapist.
yeah.
They
Go
should
to the
not be.
therapist,
You
sit
should
on that
not be
sofa.
unloading all your problems on them. Just get a therapy session. I mean, there's
Go
so
get some
many
professional
resources
help.
out there. There's the NOLA Black Mental Health.
Hmm.
They're on Instagram. I know there's a directory that they have where you can look up so many providers like that. It's there, and it's just that the stigma. We just gotta stop messing with people because we feel like, oh, you gotta go to the therapist. What's wrong with that? It's communication.
Man, it's communication. So I did my little homework. You are amazing, yeah. You know that.
Oh, thank you.
You big time. You're a leader. You're in some leadership roles. Can you explain to the people the leadership roles that you're in?
So I serve on the board of the American Heart Association.
Uh-huh.
I'm on the board of Aligned New
Uh-huh.
Orleans, which is for
Uh-huh.
education. I'm a member of some organizations,
Uh-huh.
aka
Yeah.
Junior
Talk your
League.
talk.
I also serve on the Healthy Women organization, where I'm on their advisory council, wellness travel,
Mhm.
global wellness ambassador. So, yeah.
Man, when you get a break?
I have breaks. That's it. That's the key. I think that's what a lot of people are missing. You have to really organize, and time management is key.
Time management and keep. So in self-care, is it okay to take a break?
It is. It's okay to take a break, and it's also okay to say no.
Mhm.
There's a
That we
lot of
don't
things,
do.
right? And
We don't do.
I tell people this, like this one's important. I don't say I will not say yes to something
Uh-huh.
if it means saying no to myself. So if that
Ooh.
means I'm not gonna tell you yes if that means I'm gonna deprive myself. Like if that means I'm gonna deprive myself of sleep, or I'm gonna deprive myself of relaxation, or it's gonna make me nervous, or not nervous, but like anxious, or mess with my mental, I'm not gonna do it. It's just I'm gonna say no to it. And the people have a problem with saying no. Like I don't think it- no is no.
It's just no.
It's
Just say
no.
no.
Like you don't have to explain. It's no.
Yeah, just no.
That's
Don't
it.
feel bad.
No.
Don't feel
Like
conscious. What you
no,
said?
no,
What you say in that post? Yeah, your gut telling you the truth. You ain't crazy.
no. You're not. Just
Yeah,
no. Like
just say no.
if I don't feel good about something, no,
Just say no. I like
no.
that. Just say no. Man, I thank you for blessing us with your wisdom, your knowledge, your gifted. We thank you for blessing the world.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Alisha Reed. Let the people know where they can follow you at.
So I'm on Instagram, Dr. Alisha Reed. My website is dralishareed.com, but I'm very active on Instagram, and you can reach me there.
Make sure y'all follow him. Make sure to follow me on all social media platforms. Official Just Josen, Zyron Gilmore, and Balanced Living Podcast. And also make sure to go to our YouTube channel, Balanced Living Podcast. This one was with the one and only Dr. Alisha Reed. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. And we love you. We love you. Appreciate you. Y'all stay tuned for the next episode.